Israel did this. I'm going to put it on the words of the page. I'm going to rewind him saying it.
Whosoever, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have eternal life. Now, the question is the whosoever. Okay, whosoever. Watch this. Acts 13:23. Men and brethren, children of the stock of Abraham, and whosoever among you feareth God, to you is the word of this salvation sent.
Now, hey, bro, let me tell you something. The scripture said the serpent is a crafty individual. He's the most cunning and crafty beast God made. Because I want to show you how crafty that serpent was just now. I'm gonna read it how I read it, and I'm gonna read it the way he read it, and watch how simply reading it or accentuating certain things changes the whole sound and meaning of what was said. Here we go. Here's my version. Men and brethren, children of the stock of Abraham, and whosoever's among you, to you salvation is sent. So what I said in my very words and how I said it meant the children of the stock of Abraham and them other people there that's among you, salvation preached to all y'all. But if I go, his version, men and brethren, children of the stock of Abraham, and whosoever among you feareth God, to you the word of salvation sent. Now it sounds like, even though it really ain't, because the word and, which I'll point out in a second, but what it now sounds like is, hey, you Israelites, you natural born people, salvation is only for you. But what he said, it don't even make sense on how he even said it. Here's why. If I'm talking to natural born Jews, and I'm only talking to them, what is the point, like English-wise, or Hebrew-wise, or Aramaic-wise, whatever language you want to choose? What's the significance of me saying to them, if I'm in a room with just them, and only talking to them, and I say, men and brethren, children of the stock of Abraham, and whosoever among you, what's the point of saying that? If I'm only talking to you, I'm in a room with you only, and I say, brethren, children of the stock of Abraham, I already addressed you. All I had to say was, the word of salvation is preached unto you. But I'm talking to them, like that's like me pulling my kids in a room. And I say, sons, I got 4 sons and 1 daughter. Children, stock of my loins, and whosoever is among you, this word of salvation preached. That don't make sense. It don't make no sense to address them like that. It would only make sense if they're in the room and some other people in the room with them that ain't them. And then I say, hey, children, stock of my loins, and those among you, salvation preached to you. Now it makes sense. But if they're the only ones in there, and I'm the only one talking to them, I'm like, children, stock of my loins, and whosoever among you. What do you mean, and whosoever among you? That would make sense. That don't literally make sense. None of you ever address your household that way. But that's how he read it. And he wants you to believe that's how the apostle was talking. Children, stock of Abraham, and whosoever among you. What? It's like that Westbrook meme. What? Bro, what you talking about, man? That literally makes no sense. Let's see what it says in our translation. I know he won't read it, but fellow children of Abraham, and you God-fearing Gentiles. Wow, okay. Brothers, you sons of Abraham, and also you God-fearing Gentiles. Brother, the children of Abraham, and the Gentiles who fear God. All the translations say the same thing, what I'm saying. None of them are saying what he's saying, but he reads it. Here we go. Brothers, sisters, children of Abraham's race. That literally means all the descendants. And those who among you fear God. What? But he wants you to believe that's what the apostle was saying. That's the craftiness of the serpent. Let's listen to him.
The whosoever was always amongst the children of Israel. This is what happened, Jason. The World Council of Churches and the Roman Catholic Church, their job is to explain scriptures and disseminate their understanding to all the world churches, from Baptists to Pentecostals to Mormons to Episcopalians. They all get their rhetoric from Roman Catholic dioceses and the World Council of Churches. Look it up, it'll explain it to you.
So here's the thing. There used to be a saying we used to have about people that were like super smart, had super high GPAs, but it seemed like lacked common sense. And so clearly he's not uneducated. This is a former detective. This is somebody who's got training. He's educated. He know how to investigate things. But spiritually, he's blind and ignorant and lack the knowledge of God. And so the Apostle Paul could say, or Peter in this case, can say, men and brethren, children of stock of Abraham, and those among you. And he thinks that's addressing the same people. Why? Because he's forced to. Because he's only worrying about himself and power and rule. And because he's built up such a large following for himself, now he's kind of stuck. You got to understand, for him, he might have switched the new moon doctrine. But for him to switch this doctrine, bro, this would shake the entire camp. The entire camp will fall.
You know that I don't know where that Acts 13 precept came from, but we didn't use that. I don't remember using that. You know, I went back to my. If I go back to John, Hold on, I'm trying to do this holding the phone. Go back to John 3:16. I'll show you my precepts. Most of them dealing with the worlds though. And guess what? No, I didn't find this. I didn't find these precepts. I listened to my elders and I wrote these precepts down. All right, the Holy Spirit didn't give me these precepts. I wrote these precepts down from elders and what they taught me. This is multiple worlds. All right, and they go into the Greek and they showed that, you know, you got theos and then you got, I forget the other word. No, theos was for God. I think theos is for God. It was, I forget the word, y'all. I forget it, but it had to go into the Greek that show you that it's worlds means age, that the world can mean age. It don't just mean the world. All right, and then you got precepts like wisdom of Solomon. This is all just dealing with the world. The real precept that we used to go to was Acts 2:22. Acts 2:22, and then we gonna pretend like there was all Jews there, that it wasn't no proselytes. But then yeah, man, the proselytes ain't really proselytes. They ain't converts. They really you know, Judites. They really Judah. They just came into the fold. And that's, you know, that's another thing, man. You know, we be talking we be cutting ourselves. Cause we'll sit up there and say, you know, we just coming in, we ain't gonna call each other no darn converts. We gonna say, man, we the real Jews. So when would you call your brother, who you know is an Israelite, when would you call him a proselyte? Why would he be a proselyte? Why would an Israelite be a proselyte? Why would an Israelite be a convert? You know. And so we make ourselves hypocrites, just like when we say black. And we go to all these precepts about black, and then we turn around and say, ain't no land called black. We can't travel to the land of black. Ain't no people in the Bible called black. And then you turn around and show precepts showing that the people being called black. Come on, y'all. But Acts 2, y'all. Acts 2 is where we used to get them precepts from. Not bad. Acts 2:21, it says, and it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be saved. Ye men of Israel, hear these words. And we will stop right there. See how much of that verse is left? But we will stop right there. If you look at this inside of the blue letter, you will see a little P right here, which means the context is switching. Whosoever shall be called. Listen, whosoever got a precept here. That's why y'all need to get y'all a study Bible. Well, Acts 21, Romans 10 and 13. I'm sure you don't want to go there. I'm sure you don't want to go there. I'm sure you don't want to go no Romans 10, 13 to get to understand whosoever. So I'm not even gonna do that, man. Y'all can do that on your own time. Ye men of Israel, hear these words. And see, when we read this, when we read them two together like that, we're being deceptive. We're being serpent-like. Because and it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be saved. Ye men of Israel, hear these words. Hear these words, ye men of Israel. So it's not the world. It's not whosoever. It's Israel. But nobody, if you just be honest with yourself, nobody says, hear these words after they done already said the words. Okay? So he's saying, ye men of Israel, hear these words. Jesus of Nazareth, a man approved of God among you by miracles and wonders and signs which God did by him in the midst of you. And as ye yourselves also know, him being delivered by the determinate counsel and foreknowledge of God, ye have taken by wicked hands and have crucified and slain. Okay? He's telling you to hear these words, and he goes on. All right, he goes on and on with them words that you need to hear, but you think the words that you need to hear was before he even said it. You know, and so you see here, I will pour out my spirit upon flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. And my servants and on my handmaidens I will pour out in those days my spirit. All right, so you have your young men and your daughters, let alone now. And then he said, telling you, it's the prophet Joel 2:28. We know that Acts 2 has proselytes in there. Has proselytes, has watch this other one, Alazar. I be confusing with Brother Eleazar. Alazar. He cut me with this one. And strangers in Rome. Alright? Strangers. You see that one right there, verse 10? I can take my pinky and I can look right here. Visitors. Visitors, give you a better translation. Visitors from Rome. See tongue right there in Acts 2 and 8. Got the one by language or dialect. Okay? Helps you explain things. And this is a KJV. Alright, giving you better translations. This ain't no other translated Bible. This is a KJV. It's a reference Bible. And if you look into other translations, they'll probably have I know NLT has visitors from Rome, but strangers from Rome, like, I give it to you, say they Jews, but then what is a proselyte? Like, what is a proselyte? And again, we'll be back talking even here when we see the handmaidens and the servants. Brothers still say they're Israelites. You know what I'm saying? They Israelites. We go to Deuteronomy. I'll show you where our brothers can be sold unto us in slavery. You know what I'm saying? For 6 years, and then 7 years we had to let them go. And so we'll make all of these, everybody, proselytes, Jews, strangers from Rome, all of them Israelites. Handmaiden, servants, men, brethren, the old men, young women, they all Israel. Excuse me. They'll be all Israelites. And like I say, man, we get ourselves in some trouble, man. If you're just trying to make this thing all about this, only Israelites can receive salvation, man, you know your doctrine gonna run into a lot of trouble. You really don't need to go past Acts 7. That's why I didn't go to the Romans 10, 13. Really, the doctrine stops at around Acts 7. The doctrine stops at the Stephen gives that message to Israel. After that, that one West Hebrew Israelism runs into a great stumbling block. A whole bunch of them, and you don't make it completely through the text. And so you can run it. You can run the Israel thing. You got a good chance to run that thing, but you're gonna hit a roadblock at about Acts 7. That ship gonna get that ship gonna get turned around. Cornelius, you're gonna struggle trying to make him an Israelite. You're gonna struggle with Romans 11. You're gonna struggle with Acts 15. You're gonna struggle with Acts 20. I think it's Acts 22. With I think it was Caiaphas. Yeah, I think it's Acts 20. Heard the Romans. Paul rescue. Yeah, Acts 24. Acts 24 and Acts 26. Man, you're going to run into problems, man, with Agrippa. You're going to run into them problems. Him wishing him to be when Paul's in there saying that, I wish you all would be as I. But, brothers say, hey, man, he was just being deceptive and trying to save himself and so forth, man. But anyway, I just wanted to give you that. I just wanted to add that to the video, man. The video kind of speaks for itself. I ain't really got to say nothing that the brother ain't just said, man. It's men and brethren, stock of Abraham. It's another verse that I need to find. Let me find this verse real quick, y'all. Stock of Abraham. And I want to talk to y'all about that too. We from the stock of Abraham. We ain't in no captivity. What verse is that, y'all? The stock of Abraham, or we are the stock of Abraham. Well, that ain't it. It gave me the John 8:33. John 8:33, y'all. All right, he's telling them about the captivity, man. That's a great point this brother brought out. John 8:32. It says, ye shall know, verse 32, it says, ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. And so they answered him, we be Abraham's seed. See, we got another one here. We be Abraham's seed, or descendants. All right. We be Abraham's seed, and we were never in bondage. 33, see, you got the 2 there. 33, enslaved to any man. How sayest thou, ye shall be made free? And see, that's what I'm telling you, man. We don't even understand the political climate that was going. Why would somebody say something like that? Even if it's a Pharisee or Sadducee, why would they say something like that? It says we were never enslaved. Or are these some coons? Are these, these are like, is this Charles Barkley talking? What are you talking about? We ain't been enslaved. But why would they say we ain't never been in bondage to any man? How sayest thou ye shall be made free? And of course, they probably speaking in their lifetime. They haven't received bondage in their lifetime. And even with them, it's still just going into the mind frame, of the people and how they're thinking, and how they see the oppression that they're going through in Rome at this time. Or if they even think, like, again, they don't think they're in it. Well, he don't think he's in captivity. They have a king, You know, they have a military, and they can buck, and they've been kicked out of these places. They had an army to fight against, where they fought against them themselves. They're in their own country. You see what I'm saying? So you gotta be thinking about this stuff, but we just be so we. I said, man, we've been taught. We went to seminary. We all went to seminary. We got a precept packet. We got a lesson plan, and we stuck to it, man. We went to seminary, all of us. Those are that one West branch. But I yield with that, man. You know what I'm saying? What sayest thou, man? Is it deceptive? Is the Acts 2:21 deceptive? Is the Acts 13 what was that, 26 deceptive, with the men, brethren, stock of Abraham, and whoever amongst you fears God? Is that two people? Is that one people? All right. Is the Acts 2:21, is that being deceptive when we say ye men of Israel, after we done said, hear these words, after we done said what we done said, and we try to make that all connect together? Is that a little deceitful? What sayest thou?